my dears, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome y'all. So, here's what's happening. A few weeks ago, I posted a video sharing an entire list of the tools and furniture and whatnot that professional mangaka use. And for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Lisbeth. I'm a published American mangaka, and yes, I make manga for a living. It is sold in stores like Barnes & Noble and Amazon and all that good stuff. So, and I asked you guys in that video if you would like a version of that video that wasn't exclusively professional grade mangaka materials, but rather stuff for those of you who want to make manga on a budget. So that's what today's video is going to be all about. So I'm going to be sharing two lists, okay, of materials. One for beginners and one for, I'm going to call them intermediates. And this is what I mean by this. The beginners are more younger people who are just getting started. They want to develop their skills and they don't have the budget or even the true interest in spending money on professional grade materials just yet. And then the intermediate list are for those who maybe are old enough to want to actually self-publish their work. They want to make doujinshi, or they're ready to get started on their manga, but they don't quite have the budget there yet. So they want to have a few professional materials and some other budget-friendly materials. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to start off with the beginner list and then finish off with the intermediate list. But watch both just to see which list is better for you, my dears. So without further ado, let's get started. The beginner's list. Obviously, you're going to need some paper. So there's two types of paper that I recommend. One, a drawing sketchbook, or a pack of computer paper. Okay, babe, you can come onto the chair too.
This is ridiculous. I'm trying to make a video.
So there's two types of paper that I recommend. One, a drawing sketchbook, or two, packs of computer paper. But let's start off with a drawing sketchbook, because when I first got started, that is where I used to draw all my comics. And let me show you one from when I was a kid. This is fun. Volume 4 is literally about to drop, y'all. Anywho. For those of you who are familiar with my published series, Sacred, this is what you're familiar with the covers looking like. But back when I first got started on the series, when I was like 12 and 13 years old, this is what it looked like. It was a sketchbook, and I designed the cover, and here was the original logo and everything. And then I covered it in tape. You see it covered in tape to protect the artwork. And on the inside, I would draw all of my pages and stuff. And I would color some of the more dramatic pages and stuff. So I totally recommend that when you're first getting started, you can get a drawing sketchbook, and this is a super fun way to be able to travel with your comics and draw on pages and practice after your homework and stuff. That's what I used to do. I used to do my homework and then race over to my sketchbook. Another really fun and useful way to just get started on drawing your manga without spending too much money on professional manga paper is computer paper and sheet protectors and a binder. So this is what I mean by this. This is another way that I would make my manga pages. I would get a binder and then get computer paper, and then I would put the pages inside the little sheets. So you would have the actual like manga pages that I would work on and all that stuff, and I would just draw them out and collect them. And so it's like a whole pile right here. This one was volume 3. This was book 3 from my little, doujinshi that I was doing. And why this is so great is you don't have to spend a lot of money and you get tons of practice. I did this every day. I work on at least a page a day after my homework, and this is how I practiced. And now I go back to these, and these are my origins. This is where I came from, y'all. This is so funny. So let's do like a quick comparison of the old one from when I was a kid and compare it to the exact same scene from volume 2 in my series. It's the exact same scene, but the artwork is so different. Look at Skylar, how I used to draw him and stuff. It's so funny. And then look at him now. He's so grown. He's such a grown-ass man. The next thing you'll need is mechanical pencils. I highly recommend mechanical pencils so you can get a normal wooden pencil, but the reason why I like the mechanical ones better for making comics is line consistency. You don't have to sharpen them in order to get a thin line. They constantly have a thin line ready to go. So that's why I feel like they're better to use when it comes to drafting your comics. The next thing you will need are some quality erasers. Girl, there's a couple of brands that I highly recommend just because they're soft enough, but the rubber is hard enough to really get in there and give you a nice clean erase. Because a lot of those like little fancy erasers don't really erase very well, so try to get a couple of these or one of these. You can just use a regular pink eraser that you use in school, but I'm just recommending these two erasers just because you can get them at any store that sells school supplies and stuff, and they're very inexpensive and work beautifully, girl. You'll also need some liners. There are all sorts of brands out there. There are Microns and Copics and this brand that I literally cannot pronounce, so I will not even try. But they all work really, really well. They're all very affordable, and they also have the same, I want to say, point system, as in the thicker points are 0.8 and the thinnest points are 0.05. So I highly recommend that you get a 0.8, a 0.1, and a 0.05. The 0.8 is great for outlining the speech bubbles and the actual like panel lines and stuff, and the 0.1 is super good for detail, so definitely check those out. But if you do get a 0.05, be very delicate because the point is super thin. Now on to the intermediate list. Now, like I mentioned before, the beginner's list is mostly for younger people who are still learning, who are still mastering their craft and developing their characters and such, and they definitely don't want to spend a lot of money just because they want to create some manga pages. So the intermediate list is for those who are ready to get published, maybe self-published, go to conventions and share their books and stuff, but they do not want to break the bank. So this list will have a mixture of professional grade materials as well as beginner grade materials. First and foremost, you can use Bristol paper if you'd like. It's very inexpensive. However, a single manga could be like 200 pages or so it might get costly in the long run. You can use all sorts of different types of papers. However, personally, I recommend Dojinshi paper. Dojinshi paper, like I spoke about in this video, is a smaller version of the professional grade manga paper. Professional grade manga paper is pretty big. However, Dojinshi paper is a little smaller, as you can see right here. And what makes Dojinshi paper so ideal for creative artists who are on a budget or are self-published is you will need less materials to fill up a page. You will need less ink, you will need less time, you will need less screen tone, less of everything, which means you spend less money by drawing on smaller paper. Of course, if you wanted to draw your comics on Bristol paper or something along those lines, you can, but I will warn you that, like I say in this video, comic paper and manga paper, they have really special blue guidelines printed all throughout the edges of the paper, and these guidelines become super important during the printing process. If you don't understand the printing process, the edges of your paper actually gets cut off when the pages get printed and made into an actual book. So if you don't know where you're supposed to not draw, some of the words can get cut off, some of the artwork that's crucial can get trimmed off. So the guidelines really help you find out where is the safe zone and where is the trim zone. So please watch this video to learn more about what I'm talking about so that you can better understand the importance of manga paper. And if you'd like to incorporate some more professional grade supplies that are not expensive at all, you would like to invest in some quill pens. And India ink, y'all, they are literally the most amazing pens. The glide, the techniques that you can accomplish with these materials it's unrivaled, okay? So I recommend either getting one of these two starter sets. This set is by Speedball, and you can pretty much find it in any art store and on Amazon here in America, or you can get this one, which is from Japan, but you can also find on Amazon. The links to all of these are down there in the description box below, by the way. And what I like about these two sets so very much is that they come with multiple nibs, y'all. The little quills, the little tippy tips that you actually ink with. And why that's so useful is they each produce a different type of line. Some are more bouncy, some are more rigid. So it really allows you to kind of try them all out and see which one works best for your style and your hand. We all draw differently, so we're all going to gravitate towards different quills. Like, quills are not a one-size-fits-all type of deal. You need to try out a few to see which one works best for you and what you want your artwork to look like. So either one of these sets would be super useful, and they're literally like $5 to $7 per set. Like, that's nothing. And India Ink Speedball is my favorite. That is my bae. That is literally my favorite brand of India Ink in the world. It is waterproof when dry. It is the blackest ink you could ever find. It does not fade when you erase over it, which is a problem a lot of people have with a lot of multi-liners. I highly recommend it. And literally one jar is like $2. And of course, I also recommend that you get some liners. You can get them from all sorts of brands. You can get them from Copics. You can get them from Microns. Again, this brand that I refuse to pronounce because I don't want to make a fool out of myself. And the best sizes, in my opinion, for you to get are the 08, which is perfect for speech bubbles and for actual, the lines for the panels, and a 01, which is super great for actually getting into little details. And when you want to make buildings in the background and you want to use a ruler, the 01 is perfect for that. And of course, a 005, in my opinion, is super great. But of course, if you opt out of using quill pens and India Ink, feel free to just invest in the microns or the liners of your choice from any brand that you'd like to buy them from. Either way, whatever your decision is, they're very affordable. Of course, you'll need a mechanical pencil, and in case you did not watch my beginner's list at the beginning of this video, I recommend a mechanical pencil because of line consistency. You don't have to sharpen it to get the point all nice and thin and pointy and delicious. It'll stay super sharp and pointy and thin the entire time. Just go click and you got a nice shiny little point, You don't have to sharpen it. Of course, if you want to, you can just use a regular wooden pencil, but line consistency will be an issue. They'll become thick and so on and so forth. But mechanical pencils, in my opinion, the best decision. And of course, you'll need a good quality eraser. Fancy decorative erasers tend to not be very good at erasing, so try to spend a couple dollars on an artist quality eraser such as these. I highly recommend them. They're soft, but they're also firm enough to really get the job done, you know what I mean? And of course, you'll need a nice ruler. You could just use the ruler that you use at school, but make sure it doesn't have any nicks and cracks and whatnot on the edges. You want a nice, clean, smooth, chip-free ruler. Because that will be an issue when you're using it to make straight lines. You don't want that. And if you really want to go the professional mangaka route, you can also invest in a junior screen tone set. If you have never seen me use screen tone, this is basically what it looks like to use screen tone. It's basically giant sheets of stickers with designs printed on them that mangaka traditionally use to apply textures and shading to their illustrations. It saves on tons of time, but of course you don't need to use screen tone. You can just use your own inking techniques to create different effects and different shadings and all that good stuff. You could even use ink wash if you like. So that's it, my dears. I hope this was super useful for you guys. Have so much fun making your mangas and comics. Please check out my videos on how to make manga, how to copyright, and all that good stuff. I have links down there in the description box below. But if you want more help on how to actually draw and sharpen your drawing skills so that drawing action poses won't mess up your life, please check out my life hack videos for artists, y'all. I promise they will teach you something. You will get something really valuable out of those videos. So until next time, guys, please take care, God bless, and do not be afraid to nerd out. Take care, guys.